What's going on, Saints fans? The wide receiver position is a massive spot of need on the Saints roster. So I'm going to go through in today's video and give you a ton of names for the Saints to target in the draft, in free agency, and as a trade. So really quick, before we dive into it, if you agree with me when I say this, the Saints have a need at wide receiver. Like this video. Help us out. Let's get to 600, 700, hell, 1,000 likes. If we get 1,000 likes, the Saints will for sure address the wide receiver position. So don't jinx it. Help us out. Let's send a message to the team. Like this video because I think the Saints need a wide receiver, and I know you at home agree with me. Alrighty, so let's go through some draft targets. How we're going to do this is I'm going to present you a list of names, and then I'm going to narrow it down to a few, and then I'm just going to talk about them. So Tet McMillan, Luther Burden, Tre Harris, Emeka Egbuka, and Savion Williams are all options. Most of these guys round one. Savion Williams, you could probably afford to not probably. You can definitely get away with not drafting him at 9 overall. Tre Harris, Emeka Egbuka, and Luther Burden feel a little bit like a reach at 9 overall, in my opinion. However, I do think that one of those three options would be really, really solid. I do think Tet McMillan will be taken before the 9th overall selection. So let's take a closer look at Burden, Harris, and Egbuka. So these three players right here, all three slightly different skill sets. Like with Luther Burden, he's really solid as a slot receiver. At 5'11", 208 pounds, his production's a little bit more limited. But Emeka Egbuka, over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6'1", 205 pounds. The dude is pretty talented. But let's focus on Tre Harris. This man on screen, 6'3", 210 pounds. He is from Lafayette, Louisiana. So I personally am all for getting Tre Harris on the board. But at 9, it feels like a reach. So maybe you trade back. Maybe you draft him in the second round because I think he's a late first round, early second round pick kind of guy. But I love to get a big-bodied guy like Tre Harris who is a talented pass catcher, who can win contested catches, who has the body and the frame to be a dominant receiver in this league. I want to see him have a homecoming and come back down to Louisiana. But let's hone in on Savion Williams too. Like, this is another player at a later draft pick maybe you go and get. I mean, look at the measurables here. 6'5", 225 pounds. He was also fairly productive for the TCU Horned Frogs. 60 receptions, over 600 yards, and 6 touchdowns on the season. Like, I think that Savion Williams could be another good option as a day 2, day 3 pick maybe. We'll have to see where he falls in the draft board, but that's another option. Like, my point being, I don't think we need speed. I don't think we need fast, like, small guys. I would prefer to go with a big-bodied, dominant, contested catch pass catcher. Like, that's what I want. The Saints have a ton of speed. You need some strength now at this point. So let me ask you this question. What round would you draft wide receiver? Because unless you're getting Tet McMillan or you're trading back, I just think Luther Burden at 9 feels like a little bit of a reach. I like the player a lot, but, do you go round 1? Do you go in round 2? Do you address the offensive line and pass rusher first? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And this is the pinned comment, so share your thoughts when you get hit with this YouTube ad break and get down in the comment section. Alrighty, so for me personally, I would love to go with Tre Harris. Again, I think trading back in round 1 might not be a bad idea. Like, hear me out. If Tet McMillan's gone, let's go ahead and trade back 15, 16, anywhere from 15 to 25. Get an extra pick. Go ahead and draft Tre Harris, and then you have an extra top 100 pick. Like, I don't think that's a bad plan. But I also don't hate the idea of going and getting Luther Burden as well because he is a pass catcher who is really dominant in the slot, and I think having a quality slot receiver is a very important thing. Look at the Chargers and how quality and how much of an impact Ladd McConkey had. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. So we'll have to see in the draft what happens, but the Saints can't leave the draft. They can't leave Green Bay without a wide receiver. Let's go trades. Trades is definitely an interesting one because with the trade targets, you have a lot of juicy names here. I mean, you're talking high-profile names that put butts in seats. DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, George Pickens, Tyreek Hill, and Garrett Wilson. I mean, are you telling me maybe you could reunite Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave? That would be awesome. Are you kidding me? I'd love to do that. But really quick, I want to tell you guys about Prize Picks. Today's presenting sponsor. We're going to go through the trades. We're going to talk about each player individually. But I got to tell you about the best daily fantasy sports platform without question. There's no debate. There's no conversation. It's Prize Picks at the top of the mountain by themselves. It's playoff time, so that means it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks if you use our code CLNS when you download the Prize Picks app. You'll get $50 instantly when you play $5. Now, Prize Picks also offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. And if you want to put some cheddar down on the NFC Championship game, I highly encourage you to check out this free pick that they're giving with Jaden Daniels. I've been able to make a lot of money this season, and if you need something fun to do, like, hear me out. What Maddie and I do is I let Maddie put together a Prize Picks. We kind of collaborate on it. We pick the names. We pick the more. We pick the less. And then however much money we win at the end of the week, we go on a date. So if we didn't win much money, all right, we're just going to stay home and Netflix and chill. But hey, if we win a lot of money, we're going to go get a nice little dinner and we're going to wine and dine, if you will. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS. When you download the Prize Picks app, you'll get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks. Run your game. Alrighty, so for this specifically, like, I think Tyreek Hill would be a fun option. Not really trying to deal with the diva-ness of it. Deebo Samuel, like, I think that's another really good option. I don't know about the diva, though. Like, and also Deebo's production has dipped. And he is a, guy who can run the ball. He can receive the ball. He's kind of like he's just another version of Taysom Hill. Just not as good, in my opinion, at the throwing and not the overall utility. But as a runner of the football and as a catcher of the football, he's a damn good option. Like, I like the idea of Deebo. But I think my two top choices here are Garrett Wilson and DK Metcalf. Like, I think that when you look at the options that are out there, DK Metcalf could be a name that, of course, isn't going to come at a cheap price tag. But, I mean, the impact that he makes will definitely be felt. And I think that he could be an excellent complement to a Chris Olave and to a Rashid Shaheed. But why not pair Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave back up? I mean, they were pretty damn good just a handful of years ago together. Why not replicate that here in the Big Easy? But if you wanted to go with the risky option, like, I think that a really fun one, but a very risky one, George Pickens. Like, I'm talking to Steelers host Jack Sperry, our Chat Sports channel of Steelers Talk. He's the host of that channel. He says that the Steelers are trading George Pickens, and it's because he doesn't show up on time. It's because he shows up late to games. It's because he has a bad attitude, the work ethic. He's kind of all over the place. He's just he's a little bit of a head case. Just calling a spade a spade. He's a little bit all over the place, and that's why he fell in the draft. Like, those are facts. But he has insane catch ability. And he is a really good football player. Just a matter of keeping him on the field and keeping him in check. Can the Saints do that? Who knows? I think trade is a very difficult route to go. So I think that that's an unlikely route. But maybe they can go free agency. Like, let's talk about Stefon Diggs, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Darius Slayton, or what about MVS? And here, really quick, I'm going to say it just so that way we don't have to talk about it. There is also he who shall not be named to some of you. Michael Thomas is also an option, so F it. Maybe you go and sign him. Probably not. But anyway, point being, he's also a free agent as well. But you have some interesting targets here. Stefon Diggs and Amari Cooper, a little bit older, but still quality players, and they put up consistently good production. T. Higgins, he earned himself a lot of money this offseason. So that's going to be tough to sign him. If you can get him, maybe. Darius Slayton, maybe you can get him on a cheaper price tag. It's not like he's some insanely talented player, but he's not a bad football player. However, MVS, in my opinion, might be the guy to bring back in. Like, it feels like he is the player that the Saints have to bring back in. I don't know if you know this. Marquez Valdes-Scantling was second in the National Football League among qualifying players. meaning they played 20% of 171 targets. And that 171 number comes from Jamar Chase. He was the player who led the league in targets. So across the National Football League, outside of the random few players that got a random few crazy catches, even then he was number 4 or number 6 in that. Marquez Valdes-Scantling was number 2 in yards per reception, 21.6 yards per catch. Got to bring him back, right? Feels like you have to. Now, really quick reminder, subscribe today if you haven't already. If you made it to the end of this video, we're clearly doing something right. Excuse me. Clearly not talking right. So if you want off-season news, rumors, coverage, anything in between, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get Alvin Kamara on for an interview. Him and I have been talking on Twitter. He might be joining the show. Also, secret surprise, I cannot confirm it right now, but there is another linebacker who may be joining the program at some point in time. Maybe next week, as early as next week. So subscribe for that. But really quick, we're in our 2025 sub battle. We're getting our asses kicked, guys. Like, this is embarrassing. Come on. Falcons today is wiping the floor with us. Can you help a brother out? If you hate the Falcons, subscribe. If you don't care about the Saints, if you don't want videos, you don't want content, fine. But we can all agree on this. It's F the Falcons. Those guys are a bunch of frauds, and they're a bunch of bums. So subscribe today. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.